Farah, physics, thank you. Mariam, global media comms. Big range, fantastic. PhD program, Samira. Zaina, data analytics, great. And Ida as well, brilliant. Okay, that gives me an idea, thank you. So we'll make a start then. As Caroline has probably said, my name is Jim. I work for the University of Leicester. What we'll do today, I've got a brief presentation for you that just goes into a bit of the background about what University of Leicester is, where we are, what we offer, and then a bit of a discussion about the master's programs we particularly offer at our university. Now, I understand you're all currently students at the American University in Cairo. So we should have some time today to discuss in a bit more of an individual level about those particular programs that you might be asked interested in, whether we can offer that at the University of Leicester or not. And we can always kind of follow up after today. I'll give you my contact details directly. So if you don't want to discuss it in this kind of very public forum, we can always catch up later as well. Okay. Right, let me just share my screen and we'll just go through a PowerPoint just as an introduction to the university, okay? Okay, so just a little bit about me, just so we can get to know each other a bit more. As I said, I'm Jim. I work as the Global Business Development Manager at the University of Leicester. I'm a graduate myself, so I graduated not in 2020, in 2010, 10 years ago, in BSc History and Russian Studies, and then a year later in Masters in Political Science. As part of my degree, I actually went to study in Russia. So I studied in Birmingham, UK, and Russia as well. So for the past decade, I've been helping students such as yourself in terms of traveling to the UK for undergraduate, postgraduate studies, and really helping them with that kind of transition to study in the UK, especially where students may not be familiar with the differences about that as well. So the University of Leicester. What we're going to cover today, as I said, a bit of an introduction to the city, the university itself, and then a bit of discussion about the different areas that we offer courses in. So our university is split up into 3 different colleges: College of Social Sciences, Arts and Humanities, which also includes subjects in the areas of business, law, arts, English and languages; College of Science and Engineering, which incorporates engineering as well as computer sciences, but things like physics, astrophysics, geography and geology. And then the College of Life Sciences, which we do have a medical school. Connected to that is programs in biological sciences, medical sciences and physiology, psychology. So a wide range of courses in these particular areas. I've got a little video here, just shows a bit about the history of the university, where we came from. I'll put this up now and we can have a bit of an understanding about what the university is and what we stand for.
Sorry, Jim, but the audio is not working. Yeah, so when you share the screen, you have to make sure that you click on both buttons that appear in the share screen. At the very bottom, it says optimizing volume, I mean like sound. There's another button that you get to click on them just to make sure that we can hear your presentation.
Whereabouts am I looking?
Okay, so when you click on share screen.
Optimize screen sharing for video clip. That's the one.
Yep.
We'll try that again, shall we? Is that a bit better?
I still haven't heard anything though.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Great. Well, I'm glad that came through eventually. So as we said, the University of Leicester, we are a traditional British university. We were founded in 1921, so just under 100 years ago. And it's very much combining those elements of practical skills and theory. We are one of the research intensive universities in the UK, so we're well renowned for the quality of our research. And the connection with that is that a lot of the research that we conduct filters down then into the taught programs at master's level in particular, but also the undergraduate level as well. In total, we have about 22,000 students, including about 13,000 full-time on campus, and then another 9,000 or so distance learning students who are based around the world. Obviously, at the moment, those kind of numbers and the size look slightly different as a response to the coronavirus pandemic, but we can go into some more detail about that a little bit later. Overall, we've got just over 4,000 full-time international students from over 80 non-EU countries. So it's a big, diverse university, lots of people around the world involved. We are a campus university, so everything is kind of self-enclosed on one area, but the campus itself is based right in the city centre. So you can see here, it's about kind of 10-minute walk to the Leicester train station, about a 15-minute walk into the main city centre shopping areas. So it's a small self-contained campus, a big range of different architecture and history. The city of Leicester itself was an old Roman city, so we still have some Roman ruins about. It was a big medieval trading hub in the Middle Ages, so you can kind of see the nature of the university being connected to the rest of the world. You know, figures are useful just to kind of place that in kind of context. So we were ranked the 23rd in the UK university, 170th in the world. So that's kind of slight changes depending on which rankings you kind of go for. But generally, when we get to the master's level and the research PhD level, we're quite well renowned around the world for the quality of that teaching and research. As we said, a big kind of focus at the university on kind of employability and graduate prospects. We are one of the universities that employers, especially in the UK, tend to come to and kind of target graduates from. Every year we have a big festival of careers with lots of companies coming to the campus and visiting, obviously getting involved there. So in terms of where we are in the country, Leicester is right smack bang in the middle of England. It's about 1 hour away from London on the train, so it's well connected to the rest of the country. Leicester is about 400,000 people in total. It's the 9th biggest city in the UK, so it's a significant city. Lots going on, but it's not, you know, too big as such. You can't get lost too much. It's very different from Cairo, I'm sure. Leicester's also a very multicultural, diverse city. So it's actually one of the only cities in UK that doesn't have a majority ethnic population. So the biggest grouping, as you might imagine, is white British. It's myself, but that's 49% of the city. Apart from that, lots of people from around the world call Leicester home. So quite a few people from the Indian subcontinent, from Southern Africa, from South America, quite a lot of Europeans, a big grouping from kind of North Europe as well. So a big melting pot of people from around the world. It was also named the 3rd cheapest university city for students living in the UK in a series of surveys done in the last kind of 10 years or so. So we mentioned, because of the location of the university within the city, it's very convenient. Everything's within kind of walking distance. Lots of opportunities for shopping, food, and kind of culture. It's known very much as a festival city. So we have one of the biggest Diwali celebrations outside of India. We have a big Caribbean festival and parade each year. There's lots of opportunities to access halal food, for example. So as I said, it's a very kind of welcoming and diverse city. Just another video now. Now we've fixed the sound issues, just to show you a bit more about the city and what can you expect should you come to Leicester to study.
So the city of Leicester really appealed to me in that it's not too small, so you won't get bored there, and it's not too big and you won't get lost.
The city is so diverse. There's so many different festivals that go on throughout the year. We just finished Diwali, and there's the Eid festivals, and there's the German Christmas market that's going to happen soon, so that's quite exciting.
It has shopping, it has food places. Leicester itself is really known for its curries. I think that's one of the things I've really got involved with, is trying out all the new different food places.
And there you've also got the lanes, which is dedicated to independent shops.
There's something for everybody. You cannot explore Leicester enough.
So just a bit of a flavour of the city there, just so you're getting to know us. Okay, so moving on to the academics then. So I'm not sure in the people who are here in attendance today, whether you're current students at the moment or whether you are graduates of the American University in Cairo. But we do have 2 different joint options for our master's courses. We're running about 40 odd January start master's courses, which begin this January 11th, and then about 200 master's different courses that run from September. With the January start master's courses, at the moment they're being run along the Ignite blended teaching methodology. So this is our response to the worldwide pandemic, and basically looks to maximise your kind of face-to-face teaching experience in Leicester, combined with an enhanced digital delivery. So we took this decision early on to try and maintain the safety for our students and staff, but also to give you that really important face-to-face kind of teaching and access to our academics and your fellow students. When you get to the postgraduate level, that is especially important. As a postgraduate student, you're much more considered part of that academic department over and beyond what you are as an undergraduate student. There's always opportunities to get involved with the research projects that your tutors and the lecturers and the academics are getting involved in, and your opinion is much more not valued as such, but listened to. So we have a bit more of an expectation that if your lecturer or teacher is telling you something that you don't necessarily agree with because you've got some knowledge from elsewhere or you've read elsewhere, it's really an opportunity to enter that academic debate that you might tend to see if you go down an academic research route in your careers. Under this kind of model, we have new accommodation options available, support for quarantine if that's required, and this will continue down to next September should it be necessary. The January Start Masters courses, as I said, there's about 40 of them. They're all listed on the website directly. We do have some scholarships available for those January starts. In the College of Science and Engineering, they're worth up to about £5,500, and that's merit based on your undergraduate degree result. Similarly, in the School of Business, about worth up to £3,000. So when those are confirmed is as part of the application process. For September 2021, the applications are open now. To apply for those courses, you apply directly via the course pages, and we'll come on to that a bit later so I can show you exactly where to find the information you need. We will have some scholarships available for our master's courses in 2021. Typically, they won't be full scholarships, they will be partial fee discount scholarships, and it's generally up to about 30% of the fees off. Now, they haven't been confirmed yet, but all the kind of applicants who will be in the system are going to be informed when they are. I'll expect them to be confirmed this side of Christmas. So if you want to hold off a little bit and keep in touch, and we can obviously update you when that information is released. One thing to remember about the September 21 intake is clearly from now on we have now this student route visa, which is the new visa system that's been introduced this September in the UK, which allows international students to stay in the UK for up to 2 years after their graduation in order to find work. So that's the one you'd go down and apply for. When you apply, we do have some areas of the university that can help you and give you kind of advice about things like visas and the application process for that. There's lots of other help out there as well. Typically, our entry requirements for the USA curriculum, we look for about a B average or the equivalent GPA. So that's probably about 3.0 GPA. And now that will change slightly between the different programs. But once you apply, we'll get back to you directly. We'll either go, if you've already received your results, we'll be able to give you an unconditional offer. If you're yet to receive your results, we'll give you a target to aim for, and what's known as a conditional offer, so that once you achieve those marks, we can confirm. Generally, we'll also require an English language qualification. Typically, that is either the international IELTS score, or we do accept some other tests. Probably the most accessible at the moment is the Duolingo English online test, which we accept for postgraduate and undergraduate studies as well. So again, if you need one of those, you can always come and talk to us in terms of some guidance about what might be the best option for you. Okay, so we had a bit of a range of courses earlier that I kind of spoke about. So all of these courses, the best way to get the detailed information about that is probably to talk to a student who is currently doing that course. Now, that is something that we offer at the university. You can get in touch with some of our students who are currently on that course, and they can give you, much more of a feel about what it actually is that course involves, how it goes, what it's like at Leicester. For the kind of facts about what you can study and the information directly on the course, again, the best place is onto the website. And we'll go through a couple of screens here, just with the example of aerospace engineering masters, just to show you where to find what you want. When you go onto the course pages, you'll straight have there the course duration, whether it's available full or part-time, the start date. You can see here the aerospace engineering starting in January 21, but there'll be a September 21 start as well. And then that key information, so what part of the school it's taught of, and those international and fee levels. As you go down the page, you can find information about the course itself, find information about the entry requirements. Now, usually that is based on, for postgraduate courses, is based on the standard UK degree, which is classed by second class, first class honours. As we said, for the US system, we generally look for that B average as well. We've got information about the English language requirements and a link there to other English language acceptable requirements that we have. And then some information directly about actually the course content, about the different modules. Now, this is quite interesting. Here you can drill down as to actually what you're going to study. So for this particular course, the engineering, you have core modules that are the course, and then you have the modules. So you can kind of tailor whichever degree you do a little bit towards your particular interests. If you click in on those links on those course pages, you can then have a bit more of a detailed description about actually what non-linear control, for example, actually is, or advanced gas turbines. So you can really kind of plan out your degree in advance and make sure that we cover the information and the topics that you're interested in yourself. Another way to kind of get very strong information about it is to attend one of our open days. So we're running these virtually online now. The next one is on the Saturday, the 21st of November. And there's various sessions at those open days, both on things like applying as an international student, what to put in your personal statement, things like this, but also, you know, the direct course and academic subject talks. We have some, you know, test lectures, some example lectures. You have the example to the opportunity to ask the academics directly your questions and really get a feel about the course and the academic department as well. So I'd recommend that you go and have a look at that as well. Okay, so at this point we'll stop kind of sharing the PowerPoint. That was quite a quick rundown of what we offer at Leicester. I'm going to have a look again at those kind of courses that people look at and have put down in the chat, and then we'll open it up for a bit more of a questions session. Okay. So firstly, so Mohammed, so he's talked about a master's in business or MBA or so on. Okay, so we run a full range of MScs and MAs in the School of Business, running from your classic kind of business management to more specialized courses, including human resource management, international marketing, what are the kind of things, kind of data analysis for business, so quite kind of specialized degrees as well. In terms of the MBA that we run at Leicester is actually a distance learning online MBA, and I can talk with some quite expertise on this because I'm actually a student on that MBA as well. So I work for the university, but I'm also currently a student on that MBA. That's quite useful because it fits in around my working life. I can do things in the evening. It's a, you know, fully recognised MBA. It takes about 2.5 years to complete, and it's quite a full range course that goes into those kind of dedicated business areas that you might expect to study. A distance learning course isn't for everyone, but if you are interested in that particular method, then we can talk a little bit about that later. Certainly with economics at the master's level, Abdullah, so either economics pure on its own or economics as related to the banking and finance sector or the accounting area. So whether you look at economics as a pure science or whether you want more of an applied course, we do have those options available. At the end of this as well, I'll put up some links to the school pages and obviously my contact details as well, so we can discuss a bit more detail about those particular course if you'd like. Farah's talked about physics. So physics and astronomy is actually one of the strengths of the University of Leicester. Probably remarkably enough, we have had a Leicester-built instrument operating in space every year since 1967. So over 60 years of kind of expertise in physics and space science, and it's one of the hallmarks of this particular university. At master's level, we do have a pure physics course, but we do have some more applied physics courses which are connected in particular to the space agency, to the space industry. So astrophysics, but also the connection between kind of physics and engineering. So things like MSc space exploration systems, which might be an option for you. Global Media Communications, Mariam. Yes, our School of Media has been established for 60 years. It's a very international department. So especially at postgraduate level, about 80% of our students come from overseas, in particular in the media department. We have a particular course in MSc Global Media and Communications, and then some more specialised courses here as well. Samira has asked about PhD programs. So an applied linguistics MA holder. Okay, so we do offer PhD supervision in a lot of our academic departments. When it comes to PhD level, the application process is a little bit different, especially for kind of arts-based subjects. Typically, you'd be asked to write a research proposal. That would be put in front of our academics, and then they would have a look to see whether they would be able to supervise you in that particular research area. Miriam, Samira, for PhD. I think it would be best if you email me directly a little bit later, and we can discuss about that process of creating your research proposal and getting that into the right place. I think that's the best plan to do with that. Zaina and Ida, MA in Data Analytics. So our Data Analytics course is very mathematics based. It's actually based in the Department of Mathematics, but then the course itself is Data Analytics for Business Intelligence, MSc. So it's very focused on using those data processing skills, those mathematical skills, in much more of an applied way to support that decision-making basis in business. Now, we have elements of this particular discipline about looking at data and how decision makers in business can use data to make their business decisions. We bring in a lot of this into our full MScs and MAs in kind of business management, but in particular the data analytics course is direct and much more focused on the mathematics side of things. Okay, I think at this point it'll be useful to open it up to the room in terms of direct questions you might have for me about the university, about the city, or about courses in particular. I think there was a question there about scholarships. As I said earlier, the scholarships for September 2021 Masters entry haven't quite yet been released. But usually they are based on your academic achievement. Usually what would happen is where we have our entry requirements set about B, about that GPA 3.0, typically for students achieving above that, when we go through the process and the application process, if it looks like your kind of predicted grades or your achieved grades are higher than that, then the scholarships would be automatically applied. There wouldn't necessarily be an application process on that basis. Salma, yes, I know, and it's very critical information, isn't it? I'd expect it to be before the end of November. I know there's a lot of work going on at the moment in terms of confirming arrangements for online study and partial online study after the pandemic. So I think that's what's held up the decision a little bit. But I imagine to have that before the end of November. No problem. The development service in relation to internships and potential employment. Okay, so there are kind of two different ways with this in particular. Quite a few of the courses have a 1-year master's option. So that would be MSc, Advanced Mechanical Engineering, for example. That would be a 12-month course. You do 1 semester of taught modules, you then do a 2nd semester of taught modules, and then you'd come back to the university and do a research project. There is another option for a lot of the courses, which is to add a with industry placement. So that is a formal industry placement as part of your course. For example, Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Industry, you do 2 semesters of taught modules. You'd then go off on an arranged placement for up to 4 months, and then come back to the university and create your main project afterwards. Now, where we've got a formal program that incorporates that work placement, as you come into the university, we work with you a lot in the first couple of weeks to understand what you might want to understand, where you might want to go for that work placement, what you want to get out of it, which kind of the partners that we work with have a suitable placement for you, and then mentor you through the application process for that partnership. So many of the partnerships aren't guaranteed, they're not automatic. You will have to go through an application process like you would with any applying for a job after you've studied, and that's one of the reasons why we do it like this. Go for an interview and kind of secure those placements directly. The companies that we work with in each discipline are companies we've worked with for quite a few years, although we do have new companies added all the time. Those placements, we audit those placements, so you won't just be making the tea for 4 months or photocopying all the time. You'll be working on live client briefs, and it's a meaningful work placement to give you that experience alongside your master's level study. Okay, you don't have to do it, it's not for everyone, but if you do want to, there's a lot of support available to it. If you don't want to do that kind of formal program, or if you're enrolled in one of the courses that don't offer that formal program, then you can still work with our award development service. Now, they run sessions throughout the year on practical elements like CV writing, or applying for a job, or kind of interview techniques and confidence and elements like that. But they also do run things like skills assessment. So when I joined the university at the start of my master's course and my MBA course, we ran what was called a skills matrix assessment. And that was about 42 different areas on things like communication skills, presentation skills, teamwork, elements like this. Those kind of areas were assessed, and we had a score for each of those areas. And then throughout your course, at different touch points, we keep coming back to this matrix assessment to see what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what things you can be working on throughout your course or extracurricular in order to improve those skills. And then ultimately at the end of the course, we run another assessment to show exactly where you've improved in those areas, and you have an evidence base to then go to an interview. And when you get that question from that interview panel saying, tell me about your communication skills, you can answer that question because that's what you've been thinking about for the past year or so in your master's course. So it is a scientific process, it is a strong support level, and it's very tailored to you as well. Hopefully that's answered your question. I'm just going to filter through. There's a few more questions here, okay? Okay, Mohammed's asking about the MBA, about requiring years of experience. So for the distance learning MBA, there does need to be some work context. It is a part-time program. As I said, it's done via distance learning, so we'd expect you to be in employment as you're running it. However, an interesting note that you've mentioned, you're a mechanical engineering student. So one option that you might consider would be a master's in engineering management. So this is not an MBA, but it borrows a lot of the information from the MBA in terms of human resource management, economic management, strategy development, these kind of things, and applies it very much to the engineering world of engineering, the engineering profession. This is a one-year master in engineering management that we run at the university. There's only about 4 or 5 of these UK-wide, so it's a very popular course, and it's very much directed at engineering graduates and people who are working in the engineering profession or want to go to kind of develop their own engineering firm or move up in a management capacity. So that might be an option for you. How do we typically handle master's candidates who have a bachelor's in a different field? Okay, this is an interesting one. So generally, we would assess your background based on the skills that you develop. Okay, so it's kind of a skills-based development. Clearly, there are going to be some subjects like most in the kind of so maybe chemistry, for example, undergraduate course such as chemistry, because there is that basis of knowledge that you need to kind of build up at bachelor's undergraduate level before you can move on to the master's course. There will be incidences where we can see where the synergies are, where you can perhaps do an undergraduate in one area and then move to a master's in another area. And typically we might see this with our business masters, for example. But you could also do a business masters, for example, and look in the business master in the chemistry field. So there is sometimes those crossovers. Again, the best place to find that information directly is straight onto the website for those individual courses, which should say if there's a prerequisite. So it will say directly if we need you to have a degree in chemistry, for example, but also, you know, if you've got some work experience behind you, or you know, if you don't have any formal education in a particular area, but you've been doing it in a club for the past, you know, 15 years outside in the evenings or whatever, and want to kind of take that interest on, then, you know, come and talk to our academics at something like somewhere like the Open Day, who'll be able to give you a bit more of an idea about whether that will be suitable for you. Thanks, Yasmin. Okay, just while everyone thinks, if you have any other kind of questions or elements that you want to discuss, I'm going to share my screen again, just on the website as well. I mentioned earlier about the potential to talk to some of our students directly. And I think this is an opportunity that I'd encourage you to get in touch with, really. I can talk to you about the MBA because I'm an MBA student. I can talk to you about generally the university, the city, because I know it in terms of the application process or elements like this. But if there's you know, particular subjects that you want, it's useful to speak to students who are doing it directly. Okay. Right, so you should be able to see my screen again there. What you'll have to do is, in the university website, the website is le.ac.uk, and then if you put a slash and put chat, C-H-A-T, that'll bring you to this screen here. There's other ways you can find it, okay? What we have here is about 230 odd students across the university, who all have an app on their mobile phone. Have all kind of signed up to be a contact and be an ambassador for the university. You can filter on this page by kind of area of study or kind of country. If you want to speak to someone from Egypt, for example, let's see if there's anyone on there. It doesn't look like it, not today. But area of study, for example, for chemistry. So we can speak to Nikita. She's a chemistry student. She came in with an A-level background, and you can read a bit more about Nikita. But if you click this button here, click chat with Nikita, she will get a little app pop up on her mobile phone to say this person, Yasmin or Mariam or Mohammed, really wants to speak to you about Leicester and what it's like, and you can ask people directly those questions about what's it like studying at university. We do have other international students on there as well. They're not just from UK. This is not the best example that's come up here, but how they can help you in terms of understanding what it might be like to study in a different country and understand that kind of elements as well. Okay, so before we kind of bring it to a close then, does anyone else have any particular burning questions that they want to ask me at this point? Thank you, Mohammed. I've piqued your interest here with the engineering masters question, haven't I? So the Master of Engineering Management is taught by the engineering department, but we do have academics from our School of Business who teach on those modules as well. So it's very much a kind of joint effort between the School of Business and the School of Engineering. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to put my email address here in the chat box directly. Okay, so as I said, I am the kind of main contact for this area of the world in terms of just more of a friendly face in terms of trying to find solutions to any issues you might have, or answering any kind of questions you might have before you apply, during you apply. Typically, I usually check up on the students I've spoken to once they arrive at Leicester. I might be in touch with you later to say, okay, well, I'm glad you've enjoyed your course for this for 6 months, but I've had a contact from Caroline back from your old university, and she'd just like you to talk to a student currently at the American University of Cairo who's considering doing this same kind of thing. So I am a face that you might get to know quite well. So hopefully that's good. As I said, my email's there in the chat box there. Please feel free to get in touch with me directly. Some of those more individual questions that I haven't been able to answer directly today, we can discuss there. We can arrange another kind of video consultation face-to-face where I can maybe actually speak to you as opposed to just staring at a block on Zoom of various different names and a few people who've got pictures on there, so that's nice to see. But yeah, I'm here to help you with this journey that you're embarking on.